Alright guys, so today I want to go over who that could add into the Phantom Metal Exchange shop next, because obviously there are like so many like curses and like bad guys in JJK that it's probably like limitless. They can, you know, adapt into it, right? But I've got a pretty extensive list down here. Without further ado, let's go. But first, please black flash the like button, stuff, more content. Again, thank you all for 500 subs. Special video coming out soon, don't you worry. And you know, just run it up. I want to hit 1k. Please support your boy and let's go. Okay, so I've got it in 4 tiers, right? I've got the in-game currently, obviously my boy Jogo, the budget Sukuna, I guess. We got Hanami, good for stalling comps with his little debuffing, and kind of same as Mahito with his chip damage. So we have a lot here, right? But let's start, you know, left to right. Let's go my boy Dagon. Oh, probably the most obvious choice, right? Probably next time it gets updated, I thought it'd be 1.5 Annie, but probably second Annie, like right before second Annie, they're gonna update it, and I can almost guarantee it's gonna be Dagon next, solely because he's the last of the disaster curses that need to be added. He will fit the yellow type perfectly. He'll have a domain, you know, all that good stuff, right? Probably whenever reanimated Toji drops, I'd say it's probably a guarantee that he comes out with Toji, right? And I'd say Toji could be Annie level, honestly, or like a pre-Annie type thing, kind of like how Kaido was for the first Annie. I can definitely see him doing like a reanimated Toji, then dropping Dagon, then and then going into Annie, you know, and whoever it is then would be a pretty nice Annie, right? But yeah, Dagon, obviously domain stuff and all that, and yeah, just cool character, honestly. You know, this butt form is probably what they do. I doubt they'll do that little squid form, because this little squid form didn't really fight at all, right? So I reckon this is probably the most likely, obviously, right? But next, all right, I don't like pretty much everyone. So, you know, Choso, okay? Choso, first of all, right, he's not like a full curse, like, you know, how these 4 are up here. He's like a cursed womb. So he's made with those little cursed womb things. Kenjaku did all that, you know, that nasty stuff, right? And Choso, right, I don't think there's any chance at all he'll get put in the shop, solely because I think he's too hype. I think he can easily sell a bunch, you know, and do very well on a banner. So for that reason alone, doesn't matter what kind of Choso it is, whether it's, you know, Supernova Choso, you know, just a Convergence Choso, you know, even like a punching Choso, or like any kind of Choso, I think he's going to be on a banner, guaranteed. Can't see them ever doing a Phantom Metal Choso, okay? So next we have my boy Rosetsu, okay? Yeah, so he's the guy from the OC story stuff, right? And hear me out, boys, alright? So you guys know how, you know, look up here, right? How on launch, Jogo, Hanami, right, in the shop, they were the first domain characters technically, right? So I got you know, some thoughts, right? What if they like introduce, or like kind of like help ease us into new mechanics, like proper new mechanics through free units, right? That's what most gachas do it anyway. You know, like Dokkan have, you know, from the top of my head, that free-to-play Trunks with the domain on the same, you know, year that the Annie domain characters came out, stuff like that, right? So I would not be surprised if, even like in conjunction with a summon character, I reckon it's very likely that if they do make new mechanics, I think it will be available in the shop too, right? And where I'm going with this is I think Rosetsu will be our first transforming character, okay? Whether it be in the shop, you know, whatever it may be, he will have a transformation gimmick. You know, obviously his OG form I'll put up on screen. You guys all know what it looks like, that little like pink elf thing. And he transforms in the story, right? He has that really cool fight with Yuji, and it's a sick scene, right? I recommend going through that story and like having a look at the animations at least, if you haven't, because I kind of overlooked them at first, and they're really nice, bro. So yeah, Rosetsu is pretty cool. As for his domain, he has some like meat stuff. I kind of forgot what it does, to be honest. I think he like possessed Megami in some way or something, and he like clones Sukuna or something. So I don't know what they can do with Rosetsu, but one thing I know for a fact is that I think he'll have a new mechanic, a transforming mechanic. And next, alright, the next mechanic, okay? Your boy ain't done yet. We have, you know, Aso and Keiichizu, okay? And you guys see exactly where I'm going with this. The first duo unit, bro. What better way to introduce a duo unit mechanic than putting these two boys? I guarantee you they're gonna do this. Even if like this won't happen, because it could be like a Mojito as well. For example, I think guaranteed they will do a Aso and Keiichizu duo unit. It's too perfect, right? You know, they've teased like that Yuji and Megumi on that Shibuya trailer. They could be a duo unit. They can do, you know, it adds like a whole nother realm to the game. You know, a Yuji Todo from the Hanami fight, Yuji Todo from the Mojito fight, you know, Yuji Nanami versus Mojito. There's like a trillion things they can do, right, with duo units. And I think that just helps prolong the game by so much more. So I feel like it's kind of a no-brainer at some point, as like, you know, most gachas do anyway. Then you shake it up at some point. I doubt we'll get just solo units forever. And even if it's like not for the next few years, right, I think eventually we will get a duo unit, Aso and Keiichizu in the shop, you know, introducing or kind of easing us into a new mechanic, being duo units, right? So next we have Mahoraga. He just attacked me, but oh, stop. Anyway, right? I know, don't comment. I know my boy isn't a curse. He's a Shikigami, but he's still a bad guy, right? So, do I think Mahoraga's gonna come, right, in the shop? Probably not, right? They can probably just do a Megami unit who summons him, or a standalone Mahoraga. So I'm gonna put him just in banner instead. Even though I feel like he's probably here as well, because there's no way he's been added to the shop. I think Mahoraga will be on a banner. Again, I think the first one's gonna be a Megami that's gonna summon him. Maybe he'll like swat him out of the way or something after he gets summoned, but I do not think he'll get put in the shop. Even though he's a villain, you know, all that stuff. I know, I didn't even bother adding Sukuna here, by the way, because who in their right mind at Phantom Parade HQ would add a Sukuna into the shop? No, okay, no way. So next we have Kenjaku, okay? Kenjaku! Again, I think, even though he fits this category perfectly, I think he's, again, too hype to be a metal character. This Mojito, I think borderline could have been summonable as well, but, you know, I guess they tried to like finish off the Disaster Trio Quartet anyway. But Kenjaku, I think, is in a category of his own. I think he's too similar to Geto to fit the category of like curses, if that makes sense. So I've got banners for him as well. I think Kenjaku, when he is added, I reckon in like a year's time, Kenjaku, because like the real like content / like fighting stuff we had of him was that little thing at the end of season 2 when he kind of like ate Mojito and did a Uzumaki, I think. That's all he did, I think. But and that like barrage of curses he did on Yuji, right? So when he comes, you know, he'll come, but that will not be in a Phantom Metal shop. So next we have Final Form Mojito, okay? Or the, you know, the perfect form Mojito, or the true form Mojito, whatever you want to call him. Do I think he'll get put in the shop? It's possible, right? I will say, it's not a guaranteed chance of no, right? So I'm putting that in probs not. I'm saying that because, again, I reckon this one might be a transforming character. Kind of like how, because I think the Mojito from the Yuji and Todo fight has too much, you know, animations and fighting to not, you know, be in his base form as well. So they can split it into a bunch of units, obviously, but I think it'd be cool if they have him like a transforming scene and he goes into his final little cursed final form here, right? And that'll be like pretty cool if you ask me. Again, the new mechanic transforming, they got to do it at some point, bro. Trust me, they're not going to keep these one-dimensional units forever. I guarantee you they're going to adapt and expand as the game goes on. Because Phantom Parade's doing good right now. I checked Sensor Tower. They're making like a milli a month right in the last month, man, like a milli. So I don't think so anywhere. I'm not that many gachas hit the 1 million mark. Like for example, like the Bleach Brave Souls and all that. I think they're in like the 100,000s right now, and I don't think that game's gonna shut down ever. So, you know, judge that, I guess. I remember Dragalia Lost. If you guys played that, I remember when that was like towards this like shutdown. RIP GOAT gacha, by the way. I think that was like 60k a month or like barely anything, right? I remember because I was very into it back then, and yeah, so that's probably why it shut down. But Phantom Pain at 1 mil, especially at this point in time, this early in the game, I don't think it's going anywhere. So they have a lot of time to like implement these stuff, right? And obviously, besides the Final Form Mojito, we also have the Mechamaru Fight Mojito, okay? So actually, from a video a while back I did when they revealed the Shibuya stuff with Toji and all that on the JP trailer, I got a few comments saying like, oh, like, you know, this could be a Phantom Metal, you know, or this, because at the end of like the roadmap they showed, I think at the end of this month, they're gonna show a new Phantom Metal unit, right? And, you know, it's probably Dagon, but a lot of people were saying they could do the Mechamaru Fight Mojito in particular, because I think from story, they have his animations already, like some of his animations from the story, like, you know, the chapter on JP right now, on Global on Friday. But I think that'll be perfect, honestly. It's a nice excuse to get a second Mojito in the game, new animations, whether he has the same domain effect or not. I think it'll be cool either way. So I've got him. I know about 99% coming soon, I can't lie. But, ooh, I don't know about, probably not. Yeah, I reckon I'll put him here. I reckon that's a fair shout, like a red Mojito or something. That'll be cool, I think. Yeah, I can definitely see that. So last but not least, we have everyone's GOAT, right? Everyone's favorite curse, the Grasshopper curse, right? Yuji's #1 op in Shibuya. You know, like, it's not off the table, right? Like, no one's gonna summon for him. 0 chance we get a single cube dropped on him at all. But I do think maybe he could get put in the shop, because I doubt they're just gonna stop updating the shop. They're gonna have to keep doing it over time. And again, they can do like a another Jogo with like a different meteor move as his ult, maybe, you know, like the one that fought Sukuna, for example. They can do another Hanami where maybe the Shibuya Hanami, you know, like they can do so many variants. But I think there has to be a point where they do a new character, and seeing that there is like that live 2D model of the Grasshopper from the early Shibuya story stuff, I would not rule out this guy, right? So I'm gonna put him there, bro. Low key, I'm gonna put him there, you know, because your boy's gonna come sooner or later, whether you like it or not, right? So that is the list for all the upcoming Phantom Pain Metal characters. If I forgot anyone, make sure to comment down below. Maybe I can do a part 2, run it back or something. I don't know, up to you guys. But again, thank you all for 500 subs. I'm gonna have the membership stuff coming soon. You know, so if you want to support your boy, stay tuned. You know, by all means, you don't have to, but if you wanna, you know what I mean, I'll appreciate it. That's all for today's video. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to black flash the like button for content, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.